Little Ida muttered, "All my poor things are withered. It was so beautiful last night, but today it and number 39's gone." "Why is that, brother?" I asked a student, an older friend of mine, who was sitting on a sofa listening to me. The student knows many interesting stories and is cutting cardboard into funny shapes. Hearts, little ladies dancing above, flowers, magnificent castles with windows that open. "I can come in. Why do your flowers look so sad today? Is it because they went dancing last night? How can flowers dance?" "Yes. At nightfall, when we go to bed, they play, form circles, and dance together. Almost every night they have dance parties, honey." "Do they allow children there?" "Yes. Chrysanthemums and lily of the valley flowers too." "Where are the flowers dancing?" "Have you ever been to the front of the King and number 39's summer resort castle, where there is a garden where we grow countless flowers? You must have seen the swans swimming close to you when you threw bread to them, right? There, the dance party was held there. Yesterday I went with my mother to that garden, but none of the trees had leaves, not even flowers." "Where are they going?" "In the summer, I saw so many flowers. They were in the castle, not where. You must know, whenever the king and the court return to the capital, the flowers happily run from the garden to the castle." "Rub. I wish I could see them, right?" The two most beautiful roses sat on the throne and became king and queen. Dahlia stood aside and bowed, and quat, "They are attendants," and quat. Then all the most beautiful flowers came together and the dancing began. Blue-purple violets represent young sailors. They dance with hyacinths and hyacinths, which they call ladies. The big red tulips and lilies are the old ladies who stand and watch over everyone dancing properly and everything in order. Little Ida acts, but the flowers come to dance in the King and number 39's castle and no one says anything. What? No one knows anything. During summer nights, an old manager still comes to patrol the castle. He was wearing a large set of keys, but as soon as the flowers heard the sound of the keys clanging together, they silently hid behind the curtain and only stuck their heads out. And quat, "It seems like there and number 39's a fragrant scent of flowers somewhere." And quat, the old manager said, but he could and hash 39's see the flowers. "So happy," Ida said as she clapped her hands. "But what about you, can you see the flowers?" "Yes. Just look through the glass window and you will see flowers." Today he did the same. He saw a man standing and stretching on an armchair. That and number 39's a palace lady. Can the flowers go outside the botanical garden? Can they travel such a long distance? Absolutely. Flowers can fly if they want to. Dawn and number 39's. You see the summer birds, red-feathered, yellow-feathered and white-feathered? They are like flowers, because they were flowers before. The only difference is that they are flowers that have flown away from the stem, their petals fluttering like bird wings. If they are obedient, they will be allowed to fly during the day and not have to return to live quietly on the branches. Finally, the flower petals become real bird wings. Surely you and number 39's, they seen it too? Besides, it is very possible that the flowers in the botanical garden have never been to the King and number 39's castle and do not know that people play so happily there late at night. Now I tell you this, there is a way to tease someone. Tell the botany professor who lives nearby. Do you know him? When you get to the garden, you will tell a flower that there is a dance party in the castle. It will tell the other flowers and everyone will attend. At that time, if the professor entered the botanical garden, he would not see any more flowers and could not know where they had gone. But how can flowers talk to each other? Do they know how to speak? The student said, "No, they Don and number 39 T really know how to speak, but they signal to each other. Have you never seen that when there is wind, the flowers still bow and tilt their green sepals? For them, it is a language that is as easy to understand as we speak to each other." Little Ida asks, "So when they signal to each other like that, can the professor understand?" Very understandable. One morning he went down to the garden and saw a large nettle tree using its leaves to signal to a small, red flower like this. And quote, "You are very beautiful, I love you very much." End quote. The professor was angry and hit the nettle, that is, hit the nettle finger, but he immediately hit a thorn, causing his hand to swell, and from that time on he never dared to touch another nettle again. It and number 39 's so funny. Little Ida said and laughed. Whoever puts such things into children and number 39's minds? The jury, who is often grumpy, just came to visit, sat on the sofa and said that he did not like it. Student and scolded him for cutting out funny shapes. Sometimes cutting out a person dangling from the gallows, holding a heart, pretending to be a heart thief. Sometimes we cut an old witch riding a horse with a broom handle and her husband and number 39's spear on her nose. The jury could not stand such childish play and added again, "Who brings up stories like this? How can that be put into children and number 39's brains?" But little Ida found the story the student told about flowers very interesting. "I thought about it all the time and believed that it was natural for my flowers to droop their heads like that, because they had been dancing all night, and that and number 39's why they became sick." She picked up the flowers and went to visit the other toys placed on top. Lovely table. The drawer is full of toys. In the doll bed, my daughter Sophie is sleeping. Ida said, "Sophie, wake up. Tonight, please try to sleep in the drawer. These poor flowers are sick. Maybe lying on your bed will help them?" Ida picked up the doll. He pouted angrily, saying nothing. He was angry because he could N and #39 T lie in bed, covered them with a blanket and then coaxed them to lie still so I could go make tea for them. By tomorrow they will be cured and be able to get up. Then I pulled the curtain over the small bed so the sun wouldn't and #39 T blind their eyes. Throughout the evening, Ida could N and #39 T help but think about the story the student told her. I had to peek through the window curtain to look at the beautiful flowers my mother had left there before going to sleep. I told them, "I know very well that you are going to the dance tonight." The flowers acted as if they didn't and #39 T understand. Nothing and did not move a leaf, but Ida was not surprised, because she knew it already. As I lay in bed, I dreamed for a long time. I would love to see the beautiful flowers dancing in the king and number 39's castle. I wonder. And quote, "Did my flowers really go to the festival?" And quote, "But then I fell asleep. In the middle of the night I suddenly woke up. I just dreamed about the student and the flowers." The juror was scolding the student for giving her crazy ideas. Ida and number 39's room was silent. The night light flickered on the table. Mom and Dad were sleeping. I wondered, are my flowers still on XOFE and #39's bed? I have to see it to see. I stood up and looked through the room door, which was still slightly open. I listened and seemed to hear the sound of a piano coming from the next room. The sound was very beautiful. I had never heard such a beautiful sound before. The flowers must be dancing. God! I have to go see it. I Don and number 39. T dare move, afraid of disturbing my parents and number 39. Sleep. I just wish the flowers would come here. But they Don and number 39. T want to come. The music continues. Ida could N and #39. T hold back anymore. I slipped out of bed, gently walked to the door and looked into the next room. Oh my! I enjoyed watching it. There were no night lights in there, but the moonlight shining through the window was as bright as day. Hyacinth orchids and tulips were lined up in 2 rows on the floor. There are only empty flower pots left on the window. The flowers were dancing in a circle in the middle of the room, one flower holding the long green leaves of the other. A yellow lily is playing the piano. Little Ida must have seen it last summer. She still clearly remembers what the student said about it. Hey, it looks just like Ms. Lin. Everyone laughed at that time, but now Ida also feels that big yellow flower really looks like Ms. Lin. Its playing posture is no different from that young girl. The oval face also tilted this way and that, and the head also nodded and beat the beat. No one saw Ida. A long blue flower from the toy table walked to the doll and number 39's bed, lifted the curtain covering the thin flowers. They immediately stood up and signaled that they wanted to dance with the other flowers. They love to dance so much that they no longer look sick. Suddenly, it seemed like something fell from the table. Those are en quat, Lenten sticks and quat, that have just jumped to the ground. They also consider themselves flowers like anyone else. On each end of the stick there is a small wax doll tied, with a wide hat on its head, just like the judge and number 39's hat. The sticks jumped among the flowers with their 3 red legs. They made a lot of noise, because they danced the Meduyetska. The other flowers Don and number 39's know how to dance because they are too light to tap their feet. The wax doll rises up and spins on the paper flowers tied to its waist. He cried, "Whoever teaches such foolish things to children?" At that time, he looked exactly like the juryman with his raft hat, blushing and angry like him. The confetti hit its feet. It then stopped dancing and became the same doll again. The doll and number 39's posture was so funny that little Ida kept laughing. Every time the doll jumped, the jury had to jump along. Wanting to look like an adult or a child, he had to jump too. Flowers had to be axed for him, especially the flowers that were in the doll and number 39's bed. The doll sticks also fell in love. Just then, a loud noise came from the drawer containing Ida and number 39's Sophie doll and other toys. The hunchbacked mechanical puppet with a pot belly bent down next to the table, crawled close to the ground to open the drawer. Sophie stuck her head out, looked around and said, "Oh there! How come no one told me before there was a dance?" The hunchback and pot-bellied mechanical puppet asks, "Do you want to dance with me?" "Is that so? You really look like a dancer," Sophie replied and turned away. She sat down, thinking how could a flower come to invite her to dance. No flower came. He then cleared his throat, and quat, hum, and quat, dude. The hunchback and pot-bellied mechanical puppet started dancing alone, not too clumsy, really. Since it seemed like no one was paying attention to him, Sophie threw herself down from the top of the drawer. There was an uproar. All the flowers ran to ask Sophie if she was in pain. Every flower is considerate, especially the flowers that lie in its bed. Sophie is fine. Ida and number 39's flowers thanked Sophie, lifted her up, and danced with her. The other flowers danced in a circle around Ida and number 39's flowers. Sophie was fascinated. He told his new friends to keep his bed and lie down. It and number 39's very comfortable lying on the sofa. The flowers replied, "Thank you very much. But we won and number 39's live long. Tomorrow we will die. But remember to tell little Ida to bury us in the same place in the garden as her canary. By next summer we will grow back and will be even more beautiful than now." "No, you will not die," Sophie said, hugging and kissing them. Just then, the door to the room opened and a flood of flowers appeared. Jumped in. Ida didn't and #39's understand where they came from. They must be the flowers in the king and number 39's castle. Two gorgeous roses wearing crowns led the way. There were the king and queen. Then came the beautiful carnations bowing in all four directions. But the huge autumn flower blew its trumpet with a pea pod so that its face turned red. The blue morning glory and morning glory flowers vibrate and ring like bells. What a magical orchestra! Then many other flowers danced together as they entered, blue violets, white chrysanthemums, and fertile lily of the valley. Then all the flowers lovingly hugged and kissed each other. At the end finally, they wished each other good night. Little Ida went back to sleep and dreamed of all the past images. The next morning, as soon as she opened her eyes, she immediately ran to the table to see if the flowers were still there or not. I lifted the curtain covering the small bed. The flowers are still there, but much more wilted than last night. Sophie was lying in a drawer. Where she had placed it yesterday, she was still lying there today, but her face was drooping with sleepiness. Little Ida asked softly, "Do you remember what you have to tell me?" But Sophie still kept a blank look on her face and didn't and #39's respond. That and number 39's not good. Why Haven and number 39's you been dancing with all the flowers? Ida took a box with many beautiful birds painted on it. I opened the box, put the flowers in and said, "Your grave will be very beautiful. When my cousins from Norway come back here, we will bury you in the garden so that in the summer you will grow back, more beautiful than now." The cousins from Norway are two healthy boys. Named Jonah and Adonfa. Your father just gave you 2 bird guns. The boys planned to show it off to Ida. She told the boys the story of the dead flowers and they agreed to bury them. The 2 boys carried their guns and went ahead. Next came little Ida carrying a flower box. They dug a grave in the garden. Ida buried the flowers, then placed them with the box in the grave. The muskets and cannon were missing. Jonah and Adonfa fired air guns at the burial. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.